At New Yorker, Paul Rieckhoff is here with us, host of the Independent Americans podcast. So you think about New York, and we'll take a look at the map while we're talking in a moment from 2020, and you can look at what happened in the state of New York. If I just zoom in on it here, there's your Biden 61, Trump 38. The idea, I don't think yet, is that that reverses and puts Trump on top. But this was a story last time a little bit. These swing districts in New York can be big in terms of control of the House.
Absolutely critical. I grew up in New York. I know Pat Ryan's district pretty well in the Hudson Valley. I lived in that district. I think it's also important to note he's a combat veteran that kind of overperformed in what was a purple district, and he's sounding the alarm. I was waiting to see when someone like Pat Ryan, also someone like Mikey Sherrill from New Jersey, also Seth Moulton in Massachusetts. There's a common line there, too. They're all combat veterans, and I think they're more willing to break with party. But New York may not be a battleground state for the presidential, but it is for pretty much everything else. Kathy Hochul only won by about 6 points to a basic, no-name, pretty much outside candidate. And all these congressional districts that are purple are very much in play and going against Biden. There's an important point, too.
Sure.
It's not just Biden. The Democrats have a brand problem, and especially in New York, where Kathy Hochul is very unpopular. You had Cuomo, who was unpopular. You've got Mayor Adams, who's unpopular. So the Democratic brand, I think, is very unpopular in addition to Biden, and you're seeing it especially in places like New York.
Brings up a larger point, right? If you look at the map, we talk about blue and red states all the time, but every state in the union has red in it, right?
Yeah.
They just don't maybe have as many people. But those are congressional districts where all the red is. So when you talk about control of the House, that's what you're looking at. And even when we switch, say from, when you're in New York, we could back out of this for a second and switch over. You mentioned New Jersey. I mean, that's another issue, right, for the Democrats. I mean, the Mikey Sherrill comments were really interesting. Again, a 57-41 Biden victory. But there's little red components in New Jersey. So these districts that are close, in a close House for power, and you're talking about who the next speaker is, this could...
Yeah, I mean, the Republicans are in a position to run the table now.
Yeah.
And I think the real message here is that the bottom is dropping out on Biden. This is just, in my view, a matter of time.
So you think it's done?
Yeah, I think it is. I think he's not going to be the candidate in November. If he is, he's going to get destroyed. And I think people down ballot are starting to see that. They wonder if he's even going to be healthy enough to finish his term as president. That's also in play. People don't want to say this out loud, but I think that's the reality. Anybody who watched that debate was worried about Biden's ability to finish the debate, much less finish his term as president and run for 4 more years.
Final one, because I want to play a clip here. This is going to sound like a tri-state broadcast after a second, but Connecticut, right? So Connecticut was interesting. I thought today, again, Biden state 59 to 39 in the 2020 election. Connecticut is interesting for different, what Blumenthal had to say today. Let's listen to the senator from Connecticut.
I am deeply concerned about Joe Biden winning this November because it is an existential threat to the country if Donald Trump wins. So I think that we have to reach a conclusion as soon as possible.
So there's Blumenthal. He technically supports Biden, if that's your support. So he says, he's very, very concerned. And the point about Trump is the one a lot of Democrats have been making behind closed doors. If you're so concerned about Trump, you really want this guy at the top of your team.
I mean, the dam is broken at this point. When you lose Blumenthal, who's very much a loyal partisan, that's a sign of how much this dam has broken. I think that Pat Ryan breaking is a critical benchmark here. He's in a high media market. It's going to get a lot of coverage. And I think you're going to see dominoes continue to fall pretty quickly because independents especially are watching, and the bottom is dropping out completely, much less, forget about New York and Connecticut. Think about what's happening in Arizona, in Georgia, in Texas, in places that have been on the fence or even red to begin with. So I think Biden's in deep trouble. The Democrats are in deep trouble, and they got to make a change.
There are two groups of voters that are still sticking with the president in a big way. One, we've seen it from the Congressional Black Caucus. Across the board, very strong statements. The second, unions and union voters. That's why the president, even with NATO going on, goes to the AFL-CIO. Let's listen to President Biden from earlier today.
The middle class built this country. You built the middle class. No. And by the way, I don't want to hurt your reputations, but even Wall Street's acknowledging your power.
He needs the union vote to stay with him if he is going to stay at the top, but you think?
I think that's gone too. I mean, union leadership might be with him right now, but union membership is very diverse, is not as loyal to the Democratic Party as the senior leadership is. I see that in my brother's union here in New York and unions throughout the country. I think that that's another dam that's going to break sooner or later. The leadership might stay with him, but the leadership is, I think we've seen, out of touch with the rank and file union membership, who, like everybody else, is really frustrated and concerned.
Where do you think this goes? To the convention, or he drops out in the next few days? I mean, what?
I think everybody, frankly, is watching his health. I mean, his health could deteriorate tomorrow, and that may press the hand. I think they're going to have to come up with some kind of an audible here that creates some sort of a mini convention or the action at the convention that provides an open forum, condensed, for them to find a new nominee. Then, welcome to the chaos. It's going to be wild.
Tomorrow evening is, and it was Kelly was saying earlier that the Biden folks are calling it the big boy press conference after NATO. So we'll see how that all goes. Thank you, Paul. Always good to have you on. Paul Rykoff.